Hello everybody, Deanna here, and thanks so much for being here. So today's video is going to be another book review, and the book I'm reviewing is going to be I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy. So this one I listened to by audiobook, and I also did a journal spread, which I will go ahead and share with you all right now. And I'm just gonna read my summary of what this book is about too. This is a memoir, just as an FYI. This is the author's retelling of her life and her experiences. So Jennette McCurdy came to be known and beloved for her Nickelodeon's role Sam Puckett in the shows iCarly and later in Sam and Cat. The character Sam is hard, edgy, prone to sarcasm and anger, and loves to eat fried chicken, while Jennette herself was taught from a young age to restrict by none other than her own mother, Deborah McCurdy. Jennette has a codependent and tumultuous relationship with her mother, and in her memoir, with her very controversial yet very real title, she takes readers on a candid, funny, and powerful journey through her ups and downs as she faces her own mental health struggles and the impact that her mom left behind. So I don't know if you've seen anything on YouTube or the media, the news, everything. This was a bit of a big news story for a bit. This was something where Jennette McCurdy has come out speaking out against Nickelodeon and some of the things that happen, and of course that's just gained a lot of media attention of to what she talking about. She was a child star. She started acting at the age of 6 years old through kind of the pushing of her mother. Her mother was very much the one that was instilling this need in Jennette to work and help provide for the family. So she very much explores that in this memoir, and she's gotten a bit of criticism for the title. I mean, you hear that sensational type of title of I'm Glad My Mom Died, and you're gonna get some people, especially if they don't know the story, they don't know anything about Jennette or anything like that, you're gonna get some very visceral reactions, and you're gonna get some people just pointing a finger at Jennette and saying that is wrong, that's bad. And I feel like that sometimes, and this might be a hot take, but I feel like that can come very much from a place of people who have a very closed idea of sometimes some of the trauma that children can go through and some of the things that can happen, especially to a young girl in the entertainment industry. So I think this is Jennette's right to name her book whatever she wants, and she's done some interviews talking about it as well. There's been a lot of her just kind of going all around and doing some of the media tour for this book, and also just trying to share her story and some of the struggles that she faced. And she has stepped away from acting in general because that is not what she really wanted to do. She did it to make her mom happy. And when you read this book, you really get a behind the scenes look at some of the struggles I said that Jennette faced, and this codependent like relationship that she had with her mother, and that she was very much trying to make her mother very happy while her mother was not always looking out for Jennette's best interest. Maybe she thought she was. We can't say to that because unfortunately Deborah has passed away. She passed away from cancer back in, I believe it was 2013, possibly 2014. I believe it was 2013 though, while Jennette was on one of her TV shows, Sam and Cat. She passed away from breast cancer, and Jennette had to see this very strong presence in her life kind of weaken, and and the pressures that Jennette was facing at the time too. And I mean, this has a lot of trigger warnings, because not only is there SA abuse in this book, but there's also some EDs, some eating disorders as well. And she explores that, and she's very candid about that. And I think she did really well is that she's not pointing all the blame at mom, though mom, of course, she was in a very vulnerable position with mom because it's her mom and she was just a young girl, and she's trying to, you know, live up to these pressures of Hollywood and, you know, make sure that you're staying like this little tiny size so that people will want you and love you, and that created its own internal struggle within Jennette, and she dealt with it for quite a while. And then she had to watch her mom die as well, and had to kind of face the fact that some of what happened in her life was abuse, and because Jennette didn't really see it as that at first, so she had to very much reconcile that and come to terms with that, and then start the journey to heal from that. So it's a bit of an emotional read. Just hearing it, I listened to it on audiobook, as I said, because I think that was honestly one of the best ways. One, this book is almost impossible to get because it has blown up so much in popularity, and so anytime I see it, it's a lot of times it's sold out, and so I use one of my Audible credits to get the version by audiobook. But I also really liked that idea too, because Jennette, this is her story, so she was able to narrate it herself, being that she is, you know, a celebrity in the celebrity world, so she had that ability to narrate herself because it is her memoir. And I thought that was awesome, being able to listen to it in her own words, because you can hear some of the tone that she puts into it. You can even hear some of like the raw emotion that she has at times for it, and just she was a really good actress. She was very good at her craft. She did a great job. That's where she became so infamous as the character Sam Puckett, because she was really good at acting. So she's able to put that into the book and really make you feel kind of what's going on in the book. And I think part of that is her ability, her skills, her acting, but then also part of that is also because it's so real, because as she explores throughout her behind the scenes take on her acting and the world of acting, she kind of explores a bit of how sometimes she's able to act, like what kind of images or thoughts or scenarios that she imagines kind of helps her to bring that raw emotion in some of the scenes that she plays or the additions that she does. So I think she very much tapped into that emotion that she had when she was narrating as well, because I think she just did a phenomenal job at really expressing all of that emotion for us to be able to hear while we're going through this book with her. So I just think it was absolutely incredible. And if you are able to listen to it on audiobook and you like audiobooks, you enjoy audiobooks, you're able to follow along on audiobooks, I highly recommend checking it out, because I do think she did such a fabulous job. And really my takeaway from this story, very well written, very engaging, like so witty, so candid, so funny, entertaining, just very well done in the way that she kind of sprinkles in things to connect to other things, like just a phenomenal job. And you can really see that writing is her passion and that she enjoys writing, because it really comes across when you're hearing these words and you're hearing kind of what's going on and the sentence structure and all of that good stuff. So lots of good critiques towards that as well. And I also just walked away from this book knowing more, because I grew up a bit, you know, kind of knowing about iCarly. There was a little younger than me. I'm a bit older than that generation, but I knew of iCarly. I definitely knew of it. I maybe even sat and watched an episode here and there. And my son actually very much loves the show Sam and Cat. It's just silly. It's that kind of sometimes slapstick kind of humor, that Nickelodeon type kind of kids show humor. And so we've had a couple conversations just about sometimes what happens behind the scenes to the actors and kind of sometimes that. And I have mixed feelings sometimes still letting him watch it because of what Jennette shares and what she went through and all of that. So that's something that, you know, it definitely makes you pause and consider what kind of media are we taking in. And it's interesting too because Jennette is very vocal about how she didn't really want to do the show. She did it because she was making others happy. It's what she was supposed to do, but it's not what she wanted to do. And that's where she has stepped away from the acting world, because they even rebooted iCarly recently, and she does talk about that in the book a bit, about how, you know, she had that conversation with Miranda Cosgrove, who played Carly and the main character in iCarly, and then Sam played Jennette played Sam, her best friend, and they had that conversation. And I think it was really beautiful hearing a bit about the behind the scenes relationship that Jennette and Miranda had, and I'm really glad that she had Miranda as someone to be such a good friend to her, because she very much grew up in a very competitive environment, being a child star. Like, that is some competitive, almost toxic like mentality, to be beating out fellow people and, oh, you got to do better than this. And she explores that a bit. She kind of talks a bit about that. I know there's a lot of controversy and drama about like her and her other co-star Ariana Grande, and you know, I think reading the book you really understand Jennette's perspective, and she's not sitting there shading Ariana or anything. I didn't walk away from it going, ooh, Ariana is horrible, how dare she do that to Jennette. I walked away from it going, what a competitive market that these young girls are in, that they're pitted against each other and they're made to compete with each other, and they're just made to like outperform each other, and just that kind of snarky way that the entertainment business can be, and how much it affects a young child's development and the way they view themselves in the world. Like, that very much is what I took away from this story, and just how much that affected Jennette and like her mental health, and how much she is now working to recover that and kind of take a close look at herself and be able to admit some of her flaws, and also see where some of the ways that she was wronged in some ways. So it's just very incredible. And as I walked away from this book, listening to this book, just being very proud of this young woman who was trying to do what she thought was right very much for others, especially her mom, and just proud of all of the healing that she has really done for herself, and the strength and courage that she has had to come out with her story, and the hard work that she's put in to try to get to a place where she is able to reconcile her past and share her story with the world. So I wish her nothing but love and happiness, and that she just continues on a wonderful journey finding peace and self-love, because I think she's more than deserving of it. We don't always know what someone is going through, because I think it was Miranda Cosgrove who said a quote, something about along the lines of, it hurt her to realize that the person who was making everyone in the room laugh the most was probably one of the people that was hurting the most. And I think that's something that we see in the entertainment world, and it just in people in general. Sometimes the people who are the kindest and the most accommodating or the funniest or the ones who always want to make others feel good is a lot of times it's the people that are hurting and have pain and have gone through things, so they don't want to have anyone else hurt like they've been hurt. So it's definitely something that comes across on the page, that she was someone that cared a lot, and she continues to care, and I just hope all the best for her in her wonderful journey, in her career, and in her personal life as well. So I just thought that this was a great story. I thought she did a really fantastic job with her memoir. It's all over the place, not just because of some of like the background, the Hollywood stuff like that, but I think also too because those that have actually read the book and taken some time to actually kind of realize Jennette's story are realizing how powerful this is and how vulnerable children are in these very highly competitive type of fields that can be very much exploited by their parents very easily, because they're making so much money sometimes it's mind-boggling, but yet the children walk away with barely anything, when yet they're the ones going through the grueling hours and the crazy schedules. And a lot of time these children are doing it for their family. They're not even doing it because they want to be actresses or actors. They're doing it because they feel an obligation to do it. And I think it's very important that we continue, or even maybe start, to really take a closer eye at how these children are treated and make sure that there's safety nets for them, make sure that there's things in place. I know she talks a bit about the Coogan account that was supposed to be set up, where 15% of her money was supposed to go into an account to be there for when she became an adult so that she could access that money. And she talks a bit about how she was an adult when she stopped acting, and that's probably the only reason that she actually has money, is because she finally was able to get control of her own money. But what happened to all that money when she was a child and working? And you know, that's sometimes a topic that some people get a little heated about, but I think honestly it's the child doing the work. The child should have something to be able to rely on when they're an adult and have that. So there definitely needs to be better protections in place, I think, for children actors and child actors and people, children in the entertainment business, and just children in general. And I think it's just incredible that she was so open and vulnerable to be transparent and sharing all of that with us. So if you have not checked out I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy, I challenge you to give it a listen, and let me know your thoughts. If you have read or listened to this and you have some thoughts, go ahead and leave them below. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts. Keep it kind and respectful in the comments, because this can be a very touchy subject, especially when we're dealing with some of the things that Jennette explores in her book, some of those trigger warnings. So just, if you are talking about any of it, just be respectful in the comments. And if you are struggling in any way, I'm going to leave some links below to check those out. If you have any type of struggles mentally, emotionally, or anything that you're dealing with, especially if this is triggering at all, please, you're not alone. There is help, there is support, and you are worth checking out those supports and getting some help. So I very much encourage you on your journey and send you lots of love. And I just thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, night, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Take care of yourselves. thank you so much, and you will see me next time. Bye!